Yo, what's up, guys? BravoYGO here, coming at you with another video, and today I am bringing you my Swordsoul deck profile that I played at the Tulsa Regional this past weekend. I finished 6-2-1, which was good enough for second place. Second place. Huh? I wish it was good enough for 22nd place. I'm sorry, which got me my invite, as you guys know. As you guys can hear from the placement, top 32 got the invite. I got 22nd. There were 258 players. We finished 22nd with this list. I was happy with the list. A lot of thinking and racking my own nerves, trying to see what I wanted to play. I didn't want to more so with the side deck than the main deck. I only had one decision to make on the main deck, and we'll get to that. But I'm going to be showing you guys all three: the main, the extra deck, of course, and the 15 card side deck. But let's start with the main deck. Let's move this stuff out of the way. Also, peep this mat, bro. My wife got me a custom mat for my birthday. This is my YouTube channel logo thing. Super cool. But anyway, let's get into it. A 43 card main deck. Starting off with the Swordsoul cards, we have 3 Ecclesia, we have 3 Moyi, 3 Long Guan, and 2 Taye. Nothing too crazy here, pretty standard if you ask me. I've seen some lists that only play 2 Ecclesia, which is fine, you can get away with 2, but I personally really like this card. And I actually like this card more with Desires being at 2, because typically, 9 times out of 10, if you have Desires and your opponent has Ash, they're ashing the Desires, which makes Ecclesia much more viable. Which just ensures that your Ecclesia is going to go off more. So that's it for the Swordsoul cards. Next up, we have the Tennies, probably the best part of the deck. You want to talk about breaking boards, bro? The Tennies do that on their own. They're super crazy. So that's why we max out on them. 3 Ashuna. We have 3 Adhara. We have 3 Vashuda, the Void Breaker Supreme himself. This card does so much work just on his own. Just forces so many negations and so many disruptions just on his own. And the 1 Shatana. Shatana, kind of crazy. Shatana put in a lot of work for me during this tournament. Like 3 or 4 times, I would backseat target my monk, destroy the monk to Monster Reborn with a Shatana engrave, and then I would just banish Shatana, destroy a card on my opponent's side of the field, destroy a monster. I believe the monster card. I'm sorry. Yeah, destroy a monster on my opponent's side of the field, and just bring back my monk for free. So I literally lost nothing, and it's super crazy. But that is it for the 10U cards. So we max out on the 3 best ones for Ashuna, and Adhara, and and the 1 Shatana. And moving on to the hand traps. We played 12 hand traps, and the hand trap lineup is where I had to do the most, wrecking of my nerves, trying to figure out what I want to play. But we landed on 3 Ash, 3 Valor, 3 Imperm. I did that weird. 3 Imperm. And the card that had me up at night was 3 DD Crow. I was caught between putting DD Crow or Forbidden Droplet in the main deck. And at first I was on Droplet, but through like testing and things like that, and talking to my friends, I decided on Crow, and I think that was the best decision. Crow went crazy, super crazy. I played 2 or 3 Despia, and this card just went crazy in that matchup. I played a striker. Crow got rid of the red engrave. We got rid of their engage engrave. Like Crow just put in a lot of work for me. So I 100% think this was the right call. But that's it. That's it for the hand traps. Like I said, we played 12 in total. Moving on to the spell cards. We played 3 Vessel, 3 Emergence, 1 Call by the Grave. The card is ridiculous, and 2 Pot of Desires. The Pot of Greed is back at 2, and I couldn't be happier. Absolutely love this. If this card only said get Ash Blossom out of your opponent's hand, I would still play it at 2. Like, this card is crazy because this is 100% fetching an Ash Blossom if your opponent has it, which means your Ecclesia is going off, your Vessel is going off, your Emergence is going off. Like, just it's so good. And I did not run Cycle Heavily Dragon Circle. I did not run Heavily Dragon Circle. I've played it in my list in the past when I was running like 46 or 47 cards. But I wanted to keep this as small as like possible and still feel comfortable. So I played this deck at 43, and Heavily Dragon Circle I didn't do enough for me. It's a good card, but I just wasn't. I won't say I wasn't a fan. I just felt like it was cuttable, honestly, and I did not miss it during the tournament at all. And no need to explain Call by the Grave. Like, Call by the Grave is crazy. Protect your plays. Same Emergence, we know what it does. And the last card of the main deck is, of course, the one Blackout. We know it's Icarus Attack. We know what Blackout does. Moving on to the extra deck, guys. We have 3 Monk, which is a change from the last list I was playing. I was only on 2, but since we have Lost Hawk and Aurora done, it opened up 2 spots, and I decided to fill one of those spots with a Monk of the Tenyi. And we also play a Shaman. Shaman came up one time. Shaman is just a good option to have. When she does come up, she puts in a lot of work. Next, we have for the Swordsoul Synchros, 2 Shishao. Crazy. On summon, it's a search and it's monster negation on your opponent's turn or turns after that. No need to explain. Super wild. Changing. Changing is much better with Desires at 2. This card is just always really big. It helps you push your game. Helps you get over problematic monsters. I played an Attic Nister guy who I baited out his Danmari. His what's the name of the card? His Arrival Cyburst at 4K, and I've resolved the Desires and a couple Tenyi effects, and this is how I got over it. I ended up winning that match 2-0. And we have Sinister Sovereign Long Yon, another 10 synchro. This card just says no to the Brave Engine. It says no to your opponent's field spells. This card is so good, and it's in time it looks at your opponent up and down and dares them to play a Yugioh card because you're gonna lose. This card is amazing. And also when you synchro summon another worm monster with him on field, you get to draw a card. I feel like this card, it does everything. I feel like every time I read this card, it does something new. For the Yang Zing portion, we have 1 Yazi. I did not make Yazi. I lied. Against a Sharker player, he had 800 life points left, and I had a Monk. No, I had a Haru on board, and I had an Ecclesia in hand. I normal summoned Ecclesia. Got to Long Yon, made Yazi and burn him for the last 800. That was the only time I made Yazi the whole day. Yazi did not come up a lot, but this card is insane when it does come up. And I'm surprised it didn't come up more yesterday, but I just didn't find myself in situations where I needed to make it. But Yazi is wild, being able to special summon the worm monster from the deck. 2 Baxia, Board Breaker Supreme. This card is crazy, especially when you make it with Taie, because you can chain block its effect with Taie. This card just this helps you break through so many boards, forces out so much interaction and negation. And lastly, Chao Fang. Round 9, going into round 9, I was X2. I was 5-2-1, so I needed to win that last round. in order to in order to get my invite really. And he was on ABC Therion. I won a die roll. I did not know what deck he was on. I actually made this card first to play around Nibiru because we always respect Nibiru around these parts. We are not trying to lose to the rock. I made this first, and he normal summoned an A. He activated Union Hanging. He normal summoned an A, and I never felt safer in my life. This card just says no to any light attributed monsters. So super good. Auto win versus Drytron, and apparently an auto win versus him too. Against. And the last three we play is one Draco Berserker. This card comes up sometimes. It actually comes up a lot, especially games 2 and 3 when you want to play around Token Collector. If you can, you want to make this. Let's say you start off with like your 10 you plays and you get to an 8. This is probably games 2 and 3. You probably want to make him first to play around Token Collector because they activate Token Collector effect in hand to special summon, and then you just banish it, and it is no longer a threat. One Barone. We all know what Barone does. Omni negate a pop. It's crazy. Card is insane. And the last card that I played that I wish I got to make and never came up was Psychic and Punisher. In theory, this card is absolutely insane. You can make it with a Tini, a Shooter or a Shuna, and Ecclesia is an 11. You can, at horror effect, revive Ash Blossom to make an 11. But I think this card is super crazy. When your life points are lower than your opponent's, this card is unaffected by activated effects, which is wild. And then you can pay 1,000 life points, banish a monster you control, and a card your opponent controls. Like I said, this card did not come up, but I think it's super, super good. When I was putting this together, in between this card and like Dragite, and like honestly, when I played Dragite before, it never came up, and I just figured if I'm going to play a card, that's rarely come up, doesn't have too many applications, I want to play a really, really good card, and that is exactly what Psychic and Punisher is. So that is it for the extra deck, guys. Moving on to the side deck. We played 3 of the Rock. This card put in so much work for me. People do not respect this card. Even games 2 and 3, people don't respect this card. I kind of get not respecting the game 1 because no one's really main decking Nib. But games 2 and 3, there was no respect put on this card's name, and they were punished for it. This card went crazy. I played 2 Droll and Lockbird. It was fine. I started in and saw it against the Adagnistra guy, and in round 9 against the ABC Therion guy. I won game 1 and game 2. He searched for terraforming. I dropped Droll and Lockbird, and it ended his turn, and he proceeded to get smacked in the face. He was not playing after that, and I proceeded to OTK. Those are only 2 monsters we sided. Moving on to the spells. 3 Droplet. Like I said earlier, it was between this and DD Crow going into the main deck and one going to the side. I decided to put Droplet inside, and I couldn't have been happier with that decision. I think Droplet inside is super necessary in Swordsoul. This card is always in your deck games 2 and 3 because of 1 Token Collector. Now, at first I was playing Cross-Eyed Designator and a copy of Token Collector. I did not like that. Before it just didn't do what I wanted to do. It just didn't feel great. I feel like I just wasn't a fan. I feel like that Token Collector card in my side deck could have been a much more impactful card. Instead of a defensive card for me, I just make it, something that can, affect my opponent. And that just and Droplet does the same thing. If I open this, they drop Collector, I just Droplet the effect, and we're big chilling. For Spell and Trap Hate, we have 3 Cyclone, and a Duster, and 1 Red Reboot. I did not see. I had read in round 8. I lost against Salamangreage, and I nipped him twice during this game, and I had a reboot in my hand. The reason why I lost. This is game 3. I reason why I lost because I was not drawing engine at all. I nipped him twice, and on 2 turns he had 1 set, and the token. He had nothing else, and I just could not get my engine going. I couldn't draw Moyi, Tai, Ecclesia, or nothing, and he ended up coming back and winning that game, which is very unfortunate. And the last 2 cards that we played are 2-dimensional barrier for the mirror and for the Vespia matchup. I say for the mirror because I'm going to call synchro, and that's going to turn my synchros off, but it's going to keep you from getting synchros on board. So I'm definitely winning that exchange. But that is it for the profile guide. Like I said, I got 22nd place out of 258 players, which is solid. It is fine. This is only the 3rd regionals that I've been to, and it's definitely the best that I've fared so far in my regional journey, in my competitive Yu-Gi-Oh journey. I do plan on going to Nats with the homies. But if you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. And this is BravoYGO signing off. Peace!